Cool, because if they can hear us, that means we're live on WatchLeftForDead.com, and that means that it's time to get this cast underway. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first officially shoutcasted match of the 4th TFPG mentoring tournament right here on Brightness's stream. I am Rails Barlow, one of your two casters for tonight. Casting with me is the one and only Sailor. Sailor, how are you on this fun evening?
I'm good. I'm great.
We are here to see a game between teams Dawk Dynasty 3.0 and Team Breezy. First week is Dark Carnival right here, although the teams have been together for a couple weeks. And I think we have almost all the full rosters for both teams here, except for one person for T-Sim's team. But even with that, it should be a great game. What are you expecting from this game, Sailor?
I'm expecting things to get intense pretty quickly. I know both teams have been training for, I think, almost every day. I'm just thinking that they're going to get pretty intense.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Always when these kind of games happen, it's interesting to watch because the mentor teams are so much different than just like regular teams, you know what I mean? Where it's like you start off with, instead of having a bunch of people who have played together a lot, it's how well they can develop.
Right. I played with Dawkins' team. I subbed in during a scrim once, and it was a pretty intense experience.
This is intense. He's a good... I cannot say anything bad about his mentoring abilities unless you think that the people who he trains are bad players. That would include me because he was my mentor, so you know, I can't really talk smack about him, and I can't talk smack about PSM either because he was my teammate for good time there on VOV. So honestly, I love both of them, and they're both great mentors, and I can't wait to see exactly how this game goes.
There are really strong players on both teams. I think it's just going to be really interesting to see how it plays out, especially with the way that they've been practicing.
I do believe, yeah, we do. We do have both worms for this game tonight, so we'll be able to have you hear their communications. And yeah, I've seen a lot of activity out of these TFPG teams. Is that the only team that you've ranked for so far, or have you been able to play with some of the others?
As far as TFPG teams go, it's only that team.
Okay. The reason I ask is because, like I said, most of them have been relatively active so far. Obviously, Dark Carnival, if there's a competitive Left 4 Dead 2 player, they have played this map at least 4,000 times. I don't care if it's their first year in the community, their 10th year in the community, they have played this map a lot. This is one of the maps that I think the reason it was put as the first map is due to the fact that a lot of people have a lot of knowledge on it. What's your opinion on it?
I think it's a good map that people can, or like to start with, especially because it is so open. Other maps tend to get very small and choke pointy, and that gets people really upset really fast. So I think this might be a good map to let the teams feel out the intensity of the tournament.
Yeah, and then obviously, I think because there are 4, I guess you can call them Swiss matches before the eliminations, I think the goal is to win at least 2 games, and obviously a win on the first week is going to definitely motivate people to, you know, that if you get a win off the first match, then if you just get one more, then you have a really good shot at making playoffs. And obviously, since it's I believe it's a 12-team tournament this time around, I think they're taking top 8, and then they're going to match them up against each other. So a win starting off is always nice to have. But it looks as though everybody's in server, everyone is tagged up, so we should be able to get this underway. Sailor is going to be doing the main play-by-play here, and then I will be a color commentator. So this is going to be a lot of fun to watch. How about you tell us a little bit about these teams here? What do you think of them, Sailor?
I've played with a couple of these people before, and whoever I haven't played with, I've like heard about. So I think, I don't know. I think it's anybody's game. I think it's interesting that there are players on both teams that are in double tournaments at the moment. So I think this is like extra good practice for whoever's in the other tournaments as well.
Yeah, and I think both teams are gonna be running Mentor 1, because I think, yeah, okay, that actually is Friends. Yes, they're running Mentor 1, 3, 4 for their pots, so that's going to be a pretty balanced lineup. It's always good when those two match up like that, although Ajax is also in server. I'm not exactly sure what he's doing here, but I think a lot of these players have a pretty good amount of competitive experience, too, even though they are obviously in mentoring tournaments, and that's something that actually is interesting to note, like you said, because some of the players who are in double tournaments, you know, they have some competitive experience, but they still have a lot more to learn.
Right.
So, with that being said, looks as though Ajax has left, so maybe it's going to be 1, 2... Oh, no, I'm being asked to ready up. That means we're going to be going live. Right before I ready up, let's do a quick roster rundown. I will take Dawk Dynasty, you can take Breezy. So, for Team Dawk Dynasty 3.0, we have Dawkins, Michael, Kitty, and Box, and who do we have for Breezy there, Sailor?
Jibdab, Prince Avon, Striking Serenity, and Prodigy Sims.
Alright, so now that I've readied up, I am expecting a quad ready up from Dawkins that he's probably going to count down, because why not? They're going to be on the Survivor side first. Breezy will be on the special infected. They're all standing still. Sailor, I'm scared.
I think they're having like a team huddle.
Yep, there it is. Okay, we're live.
I wonder what their team chant is.
Oh, Peasant's team unreadied. That's hysterical. Now we are going live. Oh, Dawkins unready. Oh my god.
Well, I think we all know the rule. You can't play a pug or any pro mod if it doesn't take 45 minutes to ready up.
Yep. Oh, Buck screwed up. That means I got unready. Okay, now we're good. They screwed up, and we are live. So tell us what's going to happen on this first hit here, Sailor.
Well, it seems like the jockey is setting up top. We have a charger setting up by the bus, so it looks like a pretty... I wouldn't say it's a standard hit. I'd say a lot of people go for the tree, which it kind of looks like the charger is moving towards Hunter. And the charger spawned in. He was by the bus. The jockey did land and pulled somebody back, and the Hunter did cover that hit pretty well.
Actually a pretty good amount of damage in my opinion for that first hit. Like, that charger got melted, but the other two SI were able to land with a spit down on top of that. You usually don't see a whole lot of damage in that opening area.
Especially most people go for that tree pull, and it usually misses because people expect it, and they clear it pretty quickly. So I thought it was interesting that they set the charger up on the bus. And they do have a witch that spawned up ahead. So it looks like the infected is going to hit on the witch instead of hitting now. Well, they might set up at the overpass. They do have that Hunter spawn in ready. And we have one with the draw, and they got it.
Rest of the hit going in, that Hunter did get taken out. Boomer got popped, and that's a pretty good play by the survivors right there. Smoker is going to get cleared. Charger gets him completely annihilated. That's a much better take for Dawk Dynasty. I thought Michael was going to push that, you know, after he went to the campsite, but he grabbed an Uzi instead. They went for the draw. The SI didn't hit, and the survivors made a great take out of that situation.
And now they're pushing forward pretty strong now that the hit's down, and it's coming back up. We have a jockey spitter waiting on 2 more SI. Hunter and Smoker, so this is a pretty good hit for that carpool if they decide to go for it.
I think they're probably going to, because they're going to hit here.
Like that, seems like that's what they're going for.
Yeah, they're going to hit here and then try to get like a boomer or something like that for the next like rotation. I think that Hunter's already pre-spawning.
So the Hunter and the Hunter and Jockey spawned in. Jockey did land, but he got cleared in the spit miss.
Smoker still wants the alarm car, almost gets the pull though.
He's determined.
Unfortunately, yeah, he was determined for that, but Dawkins made the right play, stood in front of that railing, and not a whole lot of damage is going out onto Team Dawk Dynasty 3.0 after that early hit. Kitty is just like, I think 7 points above slow, but besides that, they've taken no other damage really to speak of. That tank should be up soon though. Boomer's gonna spawn up below, Magic
They got a double boom, which is pretty good.
They get a spitter, they'll be very lucky. I think they're gonna use it here.
They do have a spitter, so I don't know if they're planning to go in or if they're going to wait. Yep, they spawn and they're going in. The spit land with the charge in the bathroom, which is a pretty painful hit. And he's down.
I don't know about that because, like, on the survivor side, because they had the boom horde come in, but then they decided to go back in, and with the kind of situation like that, I almost would have wanted to push forward to the street. I guess they were concerned about getting tank up, because if tank spawns, like, right here, that might have been bad, but I would have pushed that forward to try and avoid, like, a closed-in hit like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, with the small space, it's hard to tell. Then they do have another boomer up that changed from male to female. That was odd. They did get a smoke, and a Hunter went into cover. Nick is getting hit pretty hard, but he seems like he's recovered. His team is clearing common pretty well. Pink is going up top for the rock spot. It seems like they're going to play a long tank here. This is a Prince Yvonne tank.
Right, it looks as though he's actually making an interesting decision here because he's keeping sight on them before he goes up, I guess to avoid that chip. Do you want to keep it here now, or do you want to send it over to a war room for this?
I think we should go to a war room. Let's see what they're saying.
Which one?
Let's go to Survivors.
Alright, let's go to Survivor War Room, Brightness.
Get out of here, Brightness. What the fuck are you doing? Get ready, he's crossing right now. Oh wow, that was a long boom. Just clear the charge and we'll back up. He's gonna rock one of us. Okay, just get back. Actually, get underneath right now. Underneath here. It's like the only spot we can like safely LOS. Get on like the stairs area. Yeah, it's safe. He can't drop on top of you really. Just keep clearing common and get on like the stairs, spread out a little bit.
Oh, what? That rock?
Yeah, he can rock you on that. That's why I said the stairs. Because he can curve it around the corner, but the stairs are fine. That's too many coming. After this rock, we're gonna jump out. Let's get out to the cop car now. He's in, he's in. Play as safe as you can, guys.
It's Dawk coming first. Jack can smoke around me. I'm down though.
Whoa! I'm so fudged. Oh, I got a random death stop! I'm scared. I death stopped the other thing too. Oh. Jockey's still up.
Behind you, Michael.
He's in the bushes.
There you go.
Rock. Alright, let's pick up Kitty. He's in again.
Coming up.
No spawns.
Charge you.
Focus tank, focus tank.
Down.
Smoke
Knock
back.
her.
He should be low.
He should be. He's dead.
So that could hurt them.
It could. We are back
Welcome
from
back.
that Dawk Dynasty Worm. I am not sure exactly what their comms are like, but it looked pretty rough on our end here, Sailor, because they took a lot of damage from a tank that usually doesn't do a whole lot.
And they do have one dead. Kitty did just die because they couldn't pick her up fast enough. That boom did hurt them. I kind of thought it would as soon as that little boomer popped in and puked all over.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, because I think the survivors, they were trying to play chip originally, but then when the hits started going in, the SI started, like, capitalizing on their separation. Like, that initial pull-up there on, I think it was Kitty, where she was separated and she got in-capped. The rest of the team really couldn't do a whole lot. The tank came in and covered, landed a bunch of rocks, a few punches, and that's really how it goes there. This is unfortunate, though, for DD 3.0, because they're going to have to deal with the tri-cap here.
Yeah, they do have the tri-cap to deal with, and it seems like, well, the charger did hit the spit. I looked like it, yeah, it did miss, but that's alright. They still got very good damage there, and another in-cap. They do have a set of pills, though, which is, I guess, helping the survivors out. Health bonus is abysmal at this point.
Yeah, they're really not going to be able to do a whole lot besides try to make that distance. However, unfortunately for them, Box is also going to be slow, and that's their last set of pills, so they're going to have to keep working forward. Michael also is black and white. Dawkins is the only one left with bonus to speak of. And what do you think they could have done better on that tank there, Sailor, from the survivor side?
Ammo here.
Sailor!
Oh, I wasn't holding my push to talk button. I think on tank they tend to separate a little bit, and I think that's kind of where they got screwed over, is when they couldn't clear and cover Kitty better.
Yeah, and I mean, besides that, like I said, that tank typically doesn't do a whole lot of damage from the special infected side. They did send a 2-2 hit in there that Dawk Dynasty handled pretty well, but unfortunately for them, Michael is still slow. If they managed to make the snap, that would be good, because they would have at least 3 survivors with whatever bonus Dawkins has, but I do believe there is going to be another tri-cap coming up into spawn right now.
Yeah, Charger Hunter Jockey is spawning up with a spitter, so if they get that charge spit, that could be their Hail Mary. They did get a speed. And the spit did land, and the jockey did land, so it seems like they did get another death and another in-cap, so unless Box can pick him up, she might have to be hoofing it to save him alone.
Do kill
like-
the spitter, but it looks as though, I think you know what the problem there is, that they killed the charger, but then the rest of everything else landed.
Right. That hunt spit did a lot of damage, for sure. But they did make it, unless the smoker does some... Is this a clutch? The boom landed, and they shut the door right on the poor charger's face.
That is going to be Team Dawk Dynasty 3.0 making the safe room with a chapter score of 398, so not quite full distance. I think they probably would like to see a little bit more off of that, but again, nice played tank by the infected, and Prince did a good job of just taking what the survivors were giving him in a sense, where they split up the special infected, were able to capitalize on that. That's the most important part, I think, of playing SI in this game.
God damn you, Jimmy Gibbs Jr.
Well, see, that was just uncalled for. Serious.
Okay, cool. I can still change server slots. That means we won't have anybody else joining. Everybody who does want to join can obviously watch from the cast or Dawkins' first-person stream. We are now going to have Team Breezy on the survivor side and Team Dawk Dynasty 3.0 on the special infected. And I think they need to do a good amount of damage prior to that tank, because like I said, that's kind of a fluke, seeing that much damage go out there.
The other team's first hit didn't really do a whole ton of damage, so if they can get a really good first hit, I think they'll be in good shape.
I think also, like, after the first hit, Dawk Dynasty did Dawk Dynasty 3.0 did a good job of mitigating the damage, but I think Breezy's gonna hope to not take as much damage on the first hit and then also do the same thing. I'm just trying to get those shutdowns, but I'll let you take it away.
Now we can die there as a
I don't know if that charger was trying to spawn from up top and just missed, or if that was an intentional drop, but the charger is setting up behind that pole, and since it's Dawkins, I assume he did it on purpose. They're still ghosting and probably waiting for the survivors to push forward a little bit more before they spawn in. And the jockey and the hunter did spawn in together. The jockey was cleared almost instantly. That hunter is kind of pouncing around. It did land, and the charger did get a stumble, so the spit did go out on the hunter, and it dealt some damage to Nick.
Besides
know.
that, I don't know, I thought that they were going to try to lead in, maybe with the hunter and the jockey. I think they tried to do that, but the charger wasn't able to land the charge.
As far as damage goes, I'm not sure which team did a better job there. So we do have the witch coming up. This is where the other team did take no damage from the witch. They did get their crown pretty easily, despite a hit going out.
Yeah, and I think Dawk Dynasty 3.0 knows that's going to be coming, because there are how many people with shotgun? Just 2, as a matter of fact. So it's either going to be PSIM or Striking trying to take the crown. They're actually going to decide to try to hit here, because the survivors went up to the campsite. Smoker spawn didn't get anything there, Sailor.
The smoker's trying to run back. It seems like to either despawn, and then they are going to kind of push that hit to maybe clear the smoker, but they do get boomed. A single boom does go out on Prodigy Sim, so it doesn't look like the rest of the infected are going to go in, though. It seems like they're going to save that hit for the witch and despawn that smoker.
That means they're going to have a spitter for the rest. That's also going to give the survivors a chance to shop the campsite, it looks. That hunter did pre-spawn near the witch, so interesting bait, I guess, there. Semi-bait from the survivors to get that
The
campsite.
smoker is setting up behind. It looks like they're going to get a pullback, probably on whoever shoots that witch. They do have a spitter, and that hit is going out. The other team did get the crown, so the hunter is hopping away. And it looks like they might just set up for the bridge.
Ammo here.
Yeah, I think the SI wanted to go in there on the witch, but then nothing really went in. The hunter spawned, but it didn't actually go. The smoker didn't even pull back, and I don't know. This is an okay bridge hit in my opinion, but I'd rather have a charger here, and it looks as though the SI are just going to have to try to time it really well, have everything go in, and then get some separation on Team Breezy.
And that's usually the best way to clear any hit is go in together, even if it misses, at least your spawn timers are together. And I think that's one problem that a lot of people have in Pro Mod in general. So the smoker does get a pull, and not much else happens, except the hunter does land, but there is no spit to assist, and the jockey does pull somebody back, so there is some separation. But it seems like the team is going 2-2, so it doesn't really matter much. They were able to clear each other in time. At this point, there is not a lot of damage that went out, but the other team was kind of in this position as well.
Yeah, it's fortunate for Prodigy that he was able to kill that spitter first before he was able to get pounced and spit on, but he did take a little bit of damage. The jockey did land for a second as well, as you mentioned, but that's probably going to lead to a better hit. And actually, they shoot the alarm car now. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but they're going to have to take an entire alarm car horde along with... You know what? I think I'm reading Prodigy's mind. It was.
Yeah. So we have a smoker charger jockey spitter hit going in. The smoker did try to pull down to get some damage, but it was cleared. A charge spit did land back there, and there is super separation on the team. We have 2 coming around to try to clear this guy, but he is already down and taking massive damage. Michelle is left up there all by herself. But she is kind of clearing from the top. That was a good hit.
That was. If I'm reading Prodigy's mind here, which I think I am, you know what I think they're going to do? I think they shot that car because when they spawn tank, if they have the health, they're going to run it all the way back to the bridge. I think that's what they're doing. I might be wrong about that, because if they take any more damage, they're going to be bleeding for that entire time, but I think they actually might prefer that spot back there to the spot up front. Now, it looks as though Prodigy's trying to block down below as the hit goes in.
A hunter does land. Prodigy does get boomed, so it seems like that's going to make it hard for him to ground clear. Actually, it seems like he can see through boom. I don't have that superpower.
Hey, after you play the game for a certain amount of hours, usually in the high thousands, you know, Boomer Vomit becomes kind of a second-hand thing.
I feel like I'm always going to be traumatized by Boomer Vomit, but who knows?
I don't know. This is interesting, because I don't know, because they were taking a lot of damage doing this.
Well, with that first hit clear, they are now up for another hit. Prodigy Sims does get boomed again, and he's just kind of powering through it with his little axe. The jockey did spawn in. Spitter and Charger seem like they're going to go into the small room. The Charger does not land a hit, but he does get a stumble, and that spit does slow them down a little bit, so the survivors have to spend a little more time eating damage. Yeah, Coach does go down in that spit.
Wow, that's really unfortunate. So, okay, thinking if that was unintentional, then they tried to go back and clear the horde. That really didn't work too well because then they took all these hits, and if I'm not mistaken, I think there's been Horde coming in for the past like minute and a half.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a result of that card, like, being really pissed off that it got hit on purpose, or if this is just bad luck. So there's another boom that goes out, and that could also be the problem, is that they are eating a lot of boomer hits. So there is a smoker that pulls Prodigy Sim back against the car. Charger does miss, but gets the stumble, and is going in for those boxing punches. We got a Muhammad Ali on our hands.
Yeah, the other problem with that is I think, like you said, they got boomed a couple times in that, so it was the alarm car horde plus all that. The tank is going to be up, though, for Dawk Dynasty 3.0 into the hands of Kitty.
So they are pushing back towards the corner where they can block spawns pretty well, but I think the problem with this spot is people get too excited about that tank coming in and try to get too aggressive with pushing it, and they forget to block spawns correctly. We do have a hunter that pre-spawned and is hopping up top to get ready. Otherwise, there's a tri-cap, so I think... Oh, and they're going in. Hunter gets cleared. Jockey does make a hit, but it gets cleared pretty quickly.
This is going to be dangerous for Dawk Dynasty because their tank was trying to get up that side and only just now has actually made it to the top, and that tank is going to be second pass, as a matter of fact.
I think, yeah, as of now, she has 80% frustration. I don't know if she can keep her... Oh, yeah, she's at second pass.
He's going to commit, I think. Do you want to send to a war room now?
Sure. Let's go to Survivors again.
Side
On the
and
side.
pop out for the rocks.
I've got it in case there's a boomer.
It's in.
He's coming in, Breezy.
Fuck, Jock. I'm down, I think.
Don't stop now! Shoot it! Shoot the shit out of that thing! You wanna lend me a hand here? Hey, over here! Hey, I need some help over here! Over here and help me!
So we did just witness a tank wipe.
Indeed we did, and I think unfortunately for Team Breezy, they took a little bit too much damage like we said before, but then also, I think they probably could have killed that tank, but then PSM got a little bit separated over the guardrail, and the SI were able to capitalize on that sailor.
Yeah, I think the SI did a good job at continuing to hit that team over and over instead of trying to set up ahead and kind of waiting and holding those spawns. I think they saw what the other team was doing and planned around it pretty well.
The other problem with that is if you have that little health, like obviously you still have a huge open area for the tank to have to charge in with, and they had the tank down to about like somewhere in the high 2000s there health-wise, but then unfortunately weren't able to finish it off because of that SI support. So that's going to give Dawk Dynasty 2.0 a 116-point lead going into map 2. It's going to be a 55% tank, one of my favorites as a matter of fact for the Kitty land.
Pro center. Lost my eyebrows.
Alright, cool, we're good. Making sure that T-bars are right, and this is gonna be an okay opening hit, I guess. It's gonna be a Bitter, Hunter, Jockey, Boomer. So your classic 2-2 here outside the safe room. But you know what I've noticed? People can actually block the spawns on the top by jumping on that thing in the back.
Yeah, jumping on that table does block those spawns, which usually messes up. And it seems like they're going to go with 4 shotguns to start off with to clear that hit. They probably have somebody like switch back in, grab Uzi, and come back out.
Alright, so I have a shout-out from Summer, and it says, Rails, I'd like a shout-out from me to you with the message, I love you, Rails, thank you for taking me off the streets, heart, please do this for Paragon. Okay. Thank you, Summer.
They were fighting over you in stream, in the chat. They're telling each other to back off and stuff.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay, so we are going live.
So that first hit did go through. We did get a boomer and a spit on Nick, but it doesn't seem like much else landed. Everything else was cleared pretty quickly, so they didn't take too much damage, just a little bit from the comment and the spit. So they're going to push forward.
Yeah, off a hit like that, usually you like to see less damage on the survivors, but it wasn't really that, you know, it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but still a 61 damage off a 2-2 there is pretty good for the SI in my opinion, because I think somebody got pounced, spit on, and boomed at the same time, and that's a bad situation for a survivor. This hit is up, though. It's going to be a Charger, Spitter, Hunter, Jockey for this area here. I think they're going to send it pretty soon, because it seems as though the SI are spreading out.
Yeah, and that Charger did spawn in with that Hunter, so they are going for it. The Hunter did not land, but the Jockey did pull box back for some serious separation, which is kind of messing up the team. That spitter is getting some slaps in pretty good too.
That's great damage after 2 hits, in my opinion, because that, as you said, that Hunter wasn't able to land at first, but then he did get a cover on Rochelle there after the jockey landed. That delayed them from clearing it, and that's already over 100 damage off those 2 hits, and they haven't really even landed a charger yet, so I think that's a good job by Team Breezy.
I would have to agree, and Box did find an extra pair of pills that she popped, so her HP did go up, but it does seem like they're going to set up right around the corner instead of up top, which most people kind of aim up as soon as they come out to look for that boomer. That boomer's popping around the corner and does get coached. The hit is going to come in from the back, it looks like, except for that Hunter who's going to come in from the front. It is a tri-cap hit. They did land a charge and a Hunter at the same time, which leaves Coach, who is boomed, to clear. He does manage to do it. However, they did eat a lot more damage. Again, these hits are on point this time.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic damage spread, and they don't have to worry about sack order that much because they don't have to worry about the ladder choke yet. They have a tank first, which is getting drawn right here by Team Captain Dawkins, and he is going to nail that crown. I think they have one more hit before tank is up, because the survivors have to push to about, but they are separated right now, so look at the separation.
Yeah, they're very separated, and I'm not sure if this is just them not communicating or if this is just some players being a little more aggressive than they should be. But they don't seem to have much spatial awareness right now.
I think Kitty might have needed ammo there before the tank fight, but I'm not entirely sure. A hit is coming in now, though. It looks like they're either sacking or they're just trying to throw this 2-2.
We do have a Hunter that's getting dangerously close, gets skeeted by Box, but the boomer does land again, and that jockey is B-hopping its way over, lands, but gets cleared quickly. That spitter is, how did you say, is hanging onto the spitter, which I guess he's gonna, that's an unusual move.
Mr. PSM is just waiting. He actually might be tank. Is he gonna be tank? No, he's not tank. PSM, what are you doing?
He wants that, that 1 life spitter damage, dude. Well, the spitter does he does spit at the floor. Okay.
Alright, cool. PSM. We do have a tank in the hands of Striking Serenity. It looks as though he's going to play dumpsters here. And you know, my favorite spot is with the tank is to play rock by going to the left and jumping all the way across those buildings and getting into that gray area on the left. I don't know about you, but I like playing it that way, especially if the survivors are bleeding.
I hate playing tank in general, but when I do play tank over here, I am kind of a hittable person. I do like to play with hittables a lot more. And that's usually what messes up tank is when they spend too much time playing with their toys. We do have a jockey boomer charger setup going in. The charger is going to get leveled, but that boomer is also going to miss. The jockey did land, but that boomer, it would have helped. That tank is eating a lot of chip.
Yeah, he's already down to 4,700 health. He's gonna try to get, okay, he's gonna throw another curve rock around the corner, and he lands it on
And
Dawkins.
he lands it.
Still taking a lot of damage, though.
Another jump rock going in. The hit is coming up, but the spawns are kind of messed up with the way that they all died. The hit did die kind of jaggedly, so he's going to go in. It looks like he's going to go in for another rock from below. The smoker does get a pull, which separates them. That Hunter goes into cover, misses, gets dead stopped, but that boomer does land on an individual, which is only going to help. But at this point, that tank is melted.
Does manage to get an in-cap onto Michael out of that fight. He also got a rock onto Dawkins, and I think that's a pretty good take by Dawk Dynasty 3.0, but unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your opinion on how competitive Left 4 Dead 2 is, this ladder choke can be fierce despite the fact that that tank didn't do as much damage or even close to a wipe. Shout out to Spirit by 6 saying A. Okay, cool.
I'd say that the damage was actually pretty strong. It was, I mean, he did aim for 2 of the stronger players on this team if you go based on the pot levels, and he did hit Mentor in pot 1, if that means anything to anyone.
So interesting decision by the SI to throw that, half a hit there. I think the spitter might have a recharge, though. They're trying to get a strong hit for the top, but I think Dawkins is going to push this right here, if I'm not mistaken. He's just going to run up. And
as a team, they did run up, but that did kind of hurt them, that stumble, but the spit did land into the hole instead of at the top, which would have hurt them with the stumble. The charger's going to go in for some punches, but it's no good.
Yeah,
I'd say they're sitting pretty right now.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for them because, like I said, that choke can be so devastating when you have what you want, but I think they tried to sack a little bit too late. Obviously, during the tank fight, they sent everything they had. The smoker went in, probably died maybe first or second, and they weren't able to get it again for that choke. And now, as you said, Dawk Dynasty 3.0 sitting pretty here. 2 people still with permanent health. They might get another set of pills. They're still a little bit separated.
Smoker did try to get a pullback, and he missed, so they are getting another set of pills up ahead. Jockey is going to spawn, I think, off to the side. They did get a single boom, which if the other players pay attention, shouldn't bother them too much. The smoker does get a pull, and there is covered by a hunter, and the jockey does hit a little bit late. But that smoker pull did some devastation with that boom. Kitty is down.
Wow, that was full bonus too. That was like half of their remaining health, and
yeah, their bonus dropped from about 300 to 140.
Yeah, even when they come back up, it's still going to be a lot less. This charger actually might decide to go in right now, just to see what damage they can get. Nope,
Jib
gonna
jab
wait.
with the smoke.
We gotta focus on box now. That's the only bonus left really for Dawk Dynasty 3.0. And as long as they play it smart here and just don't let her eat the hit, they should be okay.
They ate a boom. But I still think they should be able to push around that without much difficulty. This charger is going in from up top, and he does land, but he gets cleared almost instantly. The hunter is spawning in from behind, and Spitter is spawning in from the front. They were trying. It looked like they were trying to get a hunt spit, but that timing was off.
Charger did get a free charge on a bonus, but that Spitter was not able to follow up yet, and I think they're just going to start doing it, you know, where they start throwing everything in for chip damage, but the bonus is already pretty much in the safe room.
That jockey is going in, hopping around, I think just to cause some distraction so that Smoker could try to come in, but he does get cleared. Coach does get pulled, but cleared immediately. That charger does get an awesome charge in the corner, with two of them flying up, but I don't think that boomer is going to do much damage unless that pull lands, and it does. With a triple boom and another smoke back, so they are getting a lot of chip in right before these survivors make it to the safe room, but they do still make it, and with a little bit of bonus.
Yeah, total chapter score of 672 for Dawk Dynasty 3.0 there. That's a nice rebound by them after what happened on the first map, where they got a little bit too much damage on them at that tank and weren't able to make the safe room, but here they still took some damage on the tank, but then they were able to recover, get past the ladder choke, and make it. So now it's going to put the weight on Breezy to try and respond in a similar fashion. Like I said, it's not usually a very high damage tank here either on the Survivor side, but if Dawk Dynasty 3.0 plays it right, they could get a good amount of bleed going before that ladder choke.
And that's what would ultimately help them. That bleed is going to be extremely necessary here.
Doing this again where they do the quad ready up, is that what we're seeing here?
It seems so. They want to have their little team huddle. That's cute.
Sim saw it. I think that's why he unreadied.
And it doesn't seem like they're going to go with a quad shotgun clearing tactic here. It seems like they're all just going to take triple Uzi and one shotgun.
That's interesting because that's not a usual setup that I see at least played recently. You usually have at least 2 shotguns or something like that, but the 3 Uzis can really help you if the survivors are on point. Like, they just need to be on point with their positioning and then have the shotgun do the main duty of either killing the hunter or popping the boomer or something like that and letting these Uzis clear common, because people tend to think that the way the shotguns work is that gives you a better chance of defending yourself, but an Uzi player can actually be even better than a shotgun if they play it correctly.
Especially if you get separated with distance. So that hit is spawned in. The jockey does miss. The hunter pops into the safe room. There's some spit that kind of goes out into the middle of nowhere, and not much else happens. They are okay.
That was a nice call, I think, by the survivors to send the one shotgun out there, just let him frag whatever he can. He managed to get the M2 and the kill on the jockey, and then also got the pop on the boomer. That, I like that, because that also gives the Uzis a chance really to clear him, but that also lets one player really focus on the frags, like I mentioned before, and striking is going to get a lot of experience with that. He also found those pills that you mentioned before on the other half round, so they are at full strength going into the second hit.
And the second hit is a jockey, spitter, boomer, charger. We don't see the same setup as before where they had a jockey that was going to kind of pull somebody around. It does seem like they're going to go for a rocket boom from up top. So the charger does go in. Does miss a charge. The one single boom does land, and the jockey lands on Rochelle, but is cleared instantly. The spit lands nowhere again.
Chasing the charger.
Yeah, he's getting chased. And he gets a recharge into the corner. That's gonna hurt.
Wow, that's infuriating for the survivors, because that was another great shutdown. And it looks as though they actually have changed their weapon setup here to a 2-2. Jib and Striking both running the shotguns there. Now that charger did get damaged, but that did throw off their spawn order.
It did. But it seems like they're going to recover just fine. The other team is shopping around a little bit before they head out, so the hunter is going to set up, it looks like, possibly for a DP, and the boomer is going to come from up top instead of around that corner.
There's still a pretty good amount for damage, but it is a 2-2.
That hunter did get chipped pretty bad. It got caught, but it does land a pretty solid hit. But Nick gets out of the spit quickly enough to get pulled back in by that smoker. Sneaky setup.
Yeah, and in an area like that where you have a multi-boom land and then the other two pinners come in, that's the only time I would really say that a 2-2 is effective. Some people complain that there isn't a whole lot of damage potential with them, but in a situation like that where the SI have the chance to arc and then the survivors are rushing out of an area like that, it can be hard for them to deal with. And that is actually a fail crown, unfortunately, by Rochelle.
And that boomer decides to go in on that 2 boom, and now the horde is coming in. It seems like the rest of the hit is going to follow after there is a charge that goes out and a hunter that lands in the middle to cover. That is a pretty good hit that was executed by Fox's team.
And unfortunately for striking there, I think he pulled the witch, and then it was just a situation where he fired a tad bit too early. He did like 800 some damage, but unfortunately wasn't able to finish it off. And that is going to really help out Dawk Dynasty 3.0 due to the fact they're going to have a full bleeder for this tank. And we are seeing the survivors a little bit separated as well. Boomer going in, getting popped though.
Close, but no cigar.
Might see the rest of it come in before that tank spawns up. I'm trying to see what they want to do, but
They have a spitter, charger, smoker, so if that spit charge lands, that does do some pretty good damage. The charger did spawn, they did get a smoke, but the charger does not actually hit anything, and the spit kind of lands all over the place. That seems to be a trend with this team so far. And when they go to watch this, they're going to get really mad at me.
No. Trust me, worse things have been said. The tank is up for Team Dawk Dynasty 3.0 into the hands of Michael, and he's going to do the same strategy that was employed by Team Breezy by getting those dumpsters into play. But like I said, this could actually really go to Team Breezy's advantage, because even though they have one person down in full bleed, they can use him as bait for the rest of the chapter now.
It does seem like they're going to set up right behind where they know that these survivors are going to set up, where they think the other team tried to set up ahead, which kind of messed them up a little bit. They are moving around that little tent as Michael comes in with his hittables. The hit is going out. We have a smoker that gets cleared. The charge does land, which does a little bit of damage and gives the tank time to climb up with little chip, whereas we saw the other tank took a lot of chip as he was getting in there.
I think what we're going to see here is, it looks as though Team Breezy is going to play it a little bit aggressively. Do you want to go to a war room here, because we have the chance?
Yeah, let's go to Infected War Room.
Let's go.
Wow, Brennan, it's just on time. He's like only second pass.
I'm gonna work it in.
Good luck.
Same.
Wait for it, Dawk.
Wait for me to get closer.
Oh, questionable.
Oh!
You're trying to summon the tank with that.
I'm
gonna do
scared.
my best, Michael.
Yeah.
I got that stop, I'm dead. Yeah, here you go. You can take this guy. It's at least a punch on health bonus. Not much you could do there.
And we are back from that Team Dawk Dynasty 3.0 War Room, and that's kind of what we alluded to before War Room there, Sailor, where the survivors did a great job of shutting down that tank in an open area.
Welcome back, little visitors, viewers. We missed you. So we do have a boom going out in the middle, and the spit did try to delay, and it seems like people try to use that spit delay to get the hit that they want for up top, but we do have one pushing to either try to block spawns or see what's up there. There is a Smoker, Hunter, Spitter, and he does get smoked, but he does get cleared pretty quickly.
Isim just backed up into that corner. He killed the Hunter, cleared the Smoker, and the Spitter. You could tell when he was sitting there, he really wanted to go up, and he just needed somebody else to go with him. They sent both bonuses up first. Risky call there, but they managed to make the play, and now they're in an even better position than Dawk Dynasty 3.0 was at this point. That's a great recovery again by Breezy. These teams are just like... These teams are going out. The intensity is there.
Definitely exactly what we thought we would see, and they have a pretty strong health bonus at this point too, so as long as they kind of play it carefully, they should be able to maintain it with the way that they've been progressing. So a 2-boom does go out from below, and then the Hunter does get skeeted, so there's no damage taken by that Hunter, but that Charger is setting up from behind, which could be really devastating if it lands.
Oh, wow!
But it was
the 360 level, then the M2 on the jockey, T-Sim doing work there. He came down, he turned his mouse completely around and leveled that Charger. That was great. If you notice what he did, he stood at the top for as long as possible, and when he knew the spawn was unblocked, he just trucked it to the bottom there, turned around, and used his katana to his advantage. T-Sim's playing really, really well this chapter.
He knew it was coming. That Charger can really hurt when it's from too far up, so it was a good thing that he pushed down as fast as he did, especially with his health. He knew he could get down there fast enough. So we do have a Hunter that is pre-spawned ahead, getting ready for that hit. Smoker, Charger, Spitter seem like they're gonna try to get a pullback and spit inside. Hunter is going in and lands. That Spitter does spawn, and I guess they're trying to get some separation, but with 2-2, it's not... Oh, well, never mind. Coach has no idea what's going on, kind of runs away.
Yeah, that would have been a lot better take for the survivors had Jib made a little bit better of a clear there, but P-Sim again took out that Charger. I thought it was weird he was leading with bonus, right? But then he pulled out his Uzi, chipped the Charger, and just ran at it with the melee weapon and got the kill. These Chargers really have not been doing much of anything. He is.
There's a single boom that does go out on him, but we know that he has boomer goggles, so it doesn't really matter. He's just going to keep slicing things. Rochelle does get smoked back, but is cleared. The Hunter kind of pounces around, and again, the spit on the floor. Oh, never mind. That spit did something.
Yeah, and this
Prince
is rough
does
now.
go down in the spit. Yeah, this is a pretty rough spot. So I heard a rumor that if you pull the lever, it actually spawns Horde. Is that a lie?
That's the... Well, okay, so basically the Horde spawns the same point in time, but then if you pull the lever, the Horde's all going to spawn in the front. That's the difference. They might just decide to leave it the way it is, or they could do this and get boomed again, which is going to cause even more common to come in, so it doesn't really matter.
And they do have another hit coming in. There's a Charger Hunter. The Hunter does land right at the front. Striking Serenity was a little slow with that clear, and the Charger does land again. Jockeyed. But they're clear.
That was a great clear
Bonds
right
are
there.
down, so if they run in, they got this.
Yeah, that was a great clear by Prince. Like, he was just about to get capped, but he got the clear on the Charger, and that should actually give Team
That was a
Breezy the
very
lead.
strong bonus.
Oh, no, it doesn't. Never mind. Wow.
But
I
if
thought
they
it was...
play like that for another round, then who knows?
I thought it was going to be, like, a lot more points for Breezy there, but I guess the bonuses were comparable? Huh. It was only, like, 90 points or something like that separating the two, so it's a very close game going into map 3, to say the least.
One team had a damage spread that was a little more even, and the other team kind of balanced it out.
Yeah. I don't know, to me it just felt like Breezy has the momentum now.
They were definitely in the zone.
Yeah. Oh, great. Okay, so it's going to be a generator room tank instead of the early tank. I actually prefer the generator room tank because, you know, with the early tank here, we're playing a version of Pro Mod that isn't the most recent version because the most recent version was causing stability issues on the servers, but there's been a huge debate as to whether or not to still fight the tank at the safe room because the tank usually gets annihilated by those Uzis coming down that catwalk.
It kind of depends. Sometimes, I mean, I have seen, and I have been in a position where I've gotten wrecked by tank in this safe room many times. I'm sure we all have. I think it just kind of depends on who you're playing with and what your support is at the time. I think one big problem that most players have is that we, especially me, like, I don't pay attention to what my SI is when I'm going in, and I know that I definitely should.
So they have to go over a strat, so I don't
Start
know, they're
my
going to
life.
come up with something. Yeah, right, they have to go over something, and then... Oh, they meant the spec, that they want the spec to ready up instead. That's interesting. Hopefully SK also takes off real quick, but I don't know exactly what they're talking about. Looks as though actually they're talking about what they're going to do for the tank in the generator room there, the swan room, right?
Spawn room, generator room, it's all the same thing.
Oh, right. Well, they're going to have a 2-2 on this first hit, but besides that, I think the most important part here is going to come down to two things. As usual, it's going to be the Swan Room tank, then the Coaster Choke. And on the Survivor side, they're in position right now because they've got those Susies and Chrome, and they also have a little bit of an advantage. But this could be a big turn chapter if we see the same kind of play come out from Breezy that happened map 2. Oh my gosh. That's why PSM didn't want to ready up. Shout out to Brightness. Have you considered making a team with colors? I could change my name to Contrast.
What?
Oh my gosh. PSIM's jokes are the best thing in this entire community, in my opinion.
Oh.
Right, so Six said, shout out to Spirit by Six saying I, and then Spirit said, shout out to Six by Spirit saying Lamal, combine our shoutouts equals I, Lamal, Lemmyface. Okay, thank you for that. Shout out from Blake to me for being his boyfriend. Okay, and we're going live now. So yeah, Dawk Dynasty 3.0 defending a 44-point lead on the Survivor here.
So we do have a Boomer, Spitter, Jockey, Hunter hit here. The Boomer does land, which sometimes people mess up, myself especially. The Hunter is following that hit, although the Survivors are set up pretty strong to clear anything that comes in. The Spit does land right at the front of the safe room, but nobody takes damage because it doesn't quite spread inside.
Honestly, seeing those cappers land there is even a little bit odd for a 2-2 right away, but again, the survivors got a little bit lucky because, as you said, that spit did not quite reach, and it looks as though Breezy actually might have another hit now, though, because Dawk Dynasty 3.0 were pushed back to the safe room by that hit.
Yeah, the Boomer did buy them some time by having them pushed back, and I believe spit doesn't necessarily spread into the safe room the way it does anywhere else. So it was a good call on them to push back as far as they did. A single boom does go out, and a hunter is kind of hopping around out there. A charger does not land, but the jockey does, and it's causing some serious separation, pulling Coach all the way back to that little corner behind a swan.
That charger went in and punched everyone. I think it only got 2 punches that registered, but like first it punched Dawkins, then it punched Michael, then it punched Box. It's going down the line as if it were a tank. And that's a good amount of damage from 2 hits. Plus the fact that Dawk Dynasty 3.0 hasn't pushed that far through, and they actually might have dealt with another hit now.
With the way that this other team, Breezy, has been setting up and throwing in their SI, they're doing a very good job. And just kind of constantly throwing in. So another boom does go out. A charge spit does land with a hunter on top. So there's 2 survivors stuck in spit while one is kind of ported back there and getting scratched and slapped around by a spinner.
I think Coach
Kitty is in bad shape.
What was that?
4
Did she
HP.
accidentally, like, wander through spit or something?
She got hunted into that spit.
Oh, okay, yeah, so that was both the charge survivor and the pin survivor right there in spit. Great attack again by Breezy. This is great pre-tank damage, and I have a feeling...
She has 2 HP. She needs to pop her pills, and they're going to down her before she pops pills right before take. Which, that Boomer seems like he's going to hang on, but that charger is kind of going in to stall the pickup. The Boomer does get popped. There's a smoke that goes out, so they are using a hit right before the tank spawns. So this other team is going to pick up and then probably have one spawn the tank during that pickup.
Yeah, that was a clutch play by Dawkins right there. They had that pull out in the back. It would have been a 2-cap with nice separation had Dawkins not leveled that charger. And the tank is up 14 Breezy into the hands of Jib Jab herself. Great player in this community. Very, very nice person as well. I've had the chance to play with her and against her, actually, in a couple matches. And she's a great tank from what I remember.
Against her.
Why?
Because she hurts.
That poor Boomer just got M2'd by a door.
And then
Prodigy,
popped.
prodigy. So, I think now might be a good time to send it over to... I'm thinking another SI worm for this. The tank is going to have to commit on this next setup.
What?
I don't really want one.
If I can catch Michael, I'll try. No. Yes, you're already going second.
Hopefully I get a smoke. Alright, you know what your path is?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Ready to...
Ready?
Nice punch. We'll give her a sec. 2 more hits. 1 more hit. Let's go now.
Let's go.
Now. Sick. Get that guy and it's done. You might have to cover me. Go to Dawkins. Go to Dawkins.
I don't know how I got that right before she M2'd you, but I'm glad I did.
She wasn't even looking, I don't think. 1 more. Nice.
He took 2.
Oh, what? Oh, nice.
Sick tank, Jib Jab.
Nice job, Jib.
Very sick tank.
Type mode. And that was an outstanding wipe right there by the tank in the hands of Jib Jab. SI support doing work after the tank was able to get that initial corner onto Michael on that walkway right there. A great tank by Jib. The SI landed the 2-cap, and I think this might be the point, Sailor, where we see the momentum completely swing in their favor if they can take that tank out, because that is a pretty easy tank to kill on Survivor if you don't see something happen like that. That was spectacular.
Yeah, Jib Jab did a really good job, and her support did a good job coming in at just the right time. They definitely didn't go in too early or too late, it was just right. It seems like they have a really good team chemistry going for them. That momentum is definitely there, and I can kind of feel the sweat coming off of Dawkins' team.
Yeah, and whoever that tank is, I think it's either going to be Dawkins or Box, is going to need to do a really, really good job in that area. I think what happened there, though, is the tank was able to get that initial push, like I mentioned, get the corner onto Rochelle, and then turn around and push the survivors into the SI spawns, which is exactly what you need. And as soon as both of you ready up, we should be ready to go. But besides that, I can understand, because that tank was just, that was that's one of the best tanks I think I've actually ever seen played in that area, due to the fact she was able to get that initial corner and then the wipe.
So we do have a similar hit going out, but the Boomer does get popped, so there is no pushback the same way that Dawk Dynasty had to kind of deal with going back and dealing with that horde. So it seems like they're going to save for the hallway hit with that jockey, spitter, and hunter.
Yeah, and for Dawk Dynasty now, I hate to be like, you know, an either-or person here, but I think what they need to do is, you know, really play that tank, either for the wipe or just to get a lot of damage. Like, the hits beforehand are going to be important too, but it looks as though Breezy are actually going back to change their weapon setup. I think they wanted 3 Uzis for this.
It seems like they're going to use that charge spit in that hallway. That hunter did pre-spawn, the jockey did spawn as well, so they're not going exactly for the alley, or hallway. So this entire hit was cleared pretty quickly. There is a little bit of standing and spit, but it doesn't really do much.
That spit block, though, by striking, I think he ran out, he was trying to M2 it, and he got in front of the spitter's face, and the spitter wasn't able to spit on that charge, so minimal damage going out on that first full hit. I don't know, they might have one more before they get to the mouth of the Swan Room, and the Boomer's
They're
gonna
try
go
to
now.
get that boom. They do get a single boom before the Swan Room, so that could buy them a little bit of time before the tank. There's a hunter jockey coming from up front, and the spit does go in a little bit early, and Ellis does get caught down, but he is just out of the spit, so it doesn't do nearly as much damage as what we saw happen to Kitty, and I think it was
Dawkins.
Michael. Dawkins? Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, that's unfortunate because for 2 hits in a row now, the spit hasn't been able to land on the pin. And obviously some people believe that spit damage is cheap, but it really is important for the survivors to either pick the support SI or find a way to, you know, mitigate that damage. Because as we saw right there, the pinners landed, but the spit wasn't able to maximize the success of the pinners. And we do have a Boomer getting M2'd right there and shut down, and the tank is up in the hands of my longtime friend slash former mentor slash team captain for Dawk Dynasty 3.0, the man himself, Dawkins.
You feel a little emotional right now?
I feel really emotional because I know Dawkins is emotional, needs to do a lot of work on this tank. Charter going in, imagine to land on Coach. The spit again is not quite on top of Coach. That's really unfortunate. Dawkins is going to take some chip here. I don't know. What do you recommend here, Sailor, for them to do on the SI side to try to get this to be the same amount of damage?
They definitely need a really good boomer. If that boom lands and causes that like blindness in this dark room, that can buy them a lot of time for that tank to get in and get a corner the same way that the other team did. That charger was a good hit for a moment, but without any other SI, it didn't really do much. So Kitty is responsible for this boomer, and it's kind of unclear where she is planning to go. So it looks like he's going to commit, and then the rest of the SI is going to come in afterwards. Kitty does spawn in, and she does come in and get a boom, and it does get the smoker tongue cleared. Dawkins does get a corner with the hunter is getting M2'd, so there is a down, and the tank is pushing out to buy some time. They are going to go for the pickup, but that does give him time to rock and to get another hit in.
Oh,
Smoker does pull another one back. Yeah, that separation's going to cause some damage.
Oh, maybe not if Ellis can kill the tank really fast, but he can't. He's asked to reload.
He's got to reload.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think PSM was trying to go for the really aggressive play, but unfortunately the Infected capitalized on that. That being said, though, from Dawkins' tank, only getting about a down and a half there worth of damage out onto Team Breezy. So, a pretty good take, and you know, by the time the support came in, the tank was down to about 1,700 health, I'm pretty sure, before he got his first punch.
It's a tough tank to play, especially when SI does get a little screwed up with the kinds of spawns that people get. And then those timers kind of screw people over when they don't time them the right way.
Could we see a hit here? There's no spitter, so they might actually decide to
hit below.
Yeah.
But it looks like they're going to set up top. They're probably just going to have everybody go in as soon as the rest of them drop in. The boomer does not manage to spawn the way I think it wanted to. There is a jockey back and then oh, there we go. That boomer does land at the end. Without a spitter, that small choke point doesn't hurt much. They just kind of have to clear out the horde and wait. The rest of the hit is down, so that unless they're going to take a ton of damage from common, which it seems like they actually are.
It's unfortunate because I think when the survivors dropped, the charger thought that she would be in range for a multi-charge, but instead the survivors were able to dodge the charger and then pretty much clear the other two caps. Like you said, without a spit in that area, the only thing that's going to do damage is all 3 SI landing at the exact same time with common, and that, unfortunately, for Team Dawk Dynasty did not happen there.
Team Breezy definitely has some momentum.
That's
So there's
unfortunate.
the smoke that tries to pull them into the spit that landed in that doorway, but it does not seem like that's going to happen. They are pretty on point with their clears. We have Jib Jab as the health bonus again, and Prince is also carrying a pretty strong health bonus. They have about 500 points in bonus right now.
Yeah, to me, the story of this chapter so far, unfortunately for Dawk Dynasty 3.0, is the Spitter's not maximizing the damage. And right there was a double charge in that corner, but the Spitter then got picked as soon as it landed in the doorway, so they weren't able to get the damage on that double charge. That's
Hunter
going to
just
be a
went
successful
in
counter
ahead,
split.
and that's going to... I don't know. I mean, he got out of it pretty quickly. Those God Frames did save his life.
Everybody on Breezy is still fast too, and they have one set of pills, so they're going to be able to take this choke pretty well. I think what they're going to do is they're going to send Prodigy and Striking up to deal with the hit. Just send the 2 non-bonus, try to get something clear, and I don't know, Dawk Dynasty 3.0 might have the right spawns. They have a Jockey in queue, but they got the
They do have a
Charger
Charger
Hunter.
now. Spitter and Hunter, so that could do some damage if that Charger does make it and land. That Spitter can cause some separation. The Jockey does take a little bit of poking from the... Oh no, he didn't take damage at all. Jockey's gonna go in first, and he does land, but the Charger does not manage to get him down. Instead, he does land in Spit, though, which is a pretty good hit regardless. There is a double, just a single, double incap. There we go.
Honestly,
Double
that
incap at the top. That works.
that looks bad for Team Breezy, but actually, it could have been a lot worse. There were no ledge hangs, it's obviously not a wipe, and that's going to be a survival of the Coaster Choke, and they still have 3 people fast right here. They do have one person
And a
black
set
and
of
white.
pills. They got a set of pills.
Yeah.
With that hit down, it makes it easy for that pickup. Dawk Dynasty is finally going in together as a team, which is helping them a lot, now that their SI have a sync timer, but for the most part, that's kind of been their struggle this match, is that a lot of their timers have been unsynced. So the Smoker does pull one down, who is boomed. The other 3 are still up top, kind of dealing with a Hunter, trying to make sure it goes away, but Prodigy Sim pushes forward enough to cover his teammate. There's a Charger setting up ahead. He does spawn in and does not get very far.
He got melted by Prodigy and Striking right there, the 2 non-bonuses, and Striking is playing it really, really well right now, being that damage tampon per se, just coming farther, even though he's black and white, you know, he's been able to take most of the damage, if not all of it, and now, and PCM actually incaps himself sliding down.
Story of my life.
That's unfortunate, but hey, he's black and white, but he had pills, so it looks as though all of them are actually still fast. This is a really, really nice round by Breezy right here.
So the Jockey did spawn in and is trying to get in there. There's a triple boom that does go out, and that Jockey does create some serious separation.
Oh, this is gonna be
up
2
ahead
deaths.
there is a smoke, yep, that's 1 death, and there goes the other one all the way back.
Well, okay, it had been a really good round by Team Breezy up until that point,
cursed them.
unfortunately. I cursed them right there. I said, you know, this has been going really well, and unfortunately, that kind of separation is what kills people who are black and white. And in this case, we saw 2 examples of it, because the pull forward, Jockey back, able to mitigate some of the score delta that's opening up right here. It's going to be about 300 points going into map 4 in favor of Breezy, but...
That Smoker's going to hang out below to try to pull one of them off and buy some time for the other SI to do some serious damage if they don't get a double cap inside. They don't seem like they're in a position where they're going to get it. The other 2 are pushing back a little bit. They still have permanent health, which makes it a little bit good for them, but we do have 1 slow and 1 not so slow, which makes it harder for them to... It seems like they're struggling to keep each other afloat.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with this really is the common, like, these SI are difficult to deal with, but there's also no Charger, but they're just hoarded the entire time. They're gonna have a spit coming for them in a second as well. They are still getting points, though, so, I mean, hey, every little bit counts in a match, especially in one between 2 teams that have been so evenly matched so far, but I think, unfortunately, for our Survivor friends here, this might be a little bit too much for them to handle.
That Smoker is kind of causing a distraction. They're not really paying attention. Well, they're trying to chip through the ceiling to see if they can kill the 2 on top, but it's not doing anything.
Smoker is in a killable spot right now. Like, all they really have to do is look down, and they were and actually, that's a common hop by Jib going in, and the Jockey's gonna land, and that's gonna be the wipe.
There's the wipe.
Hey, great round by Team Breezy up until that point. They are gonna have an over 300-point advantage. Really the first large-ish, I guess, differential that we've seen in this game so far.
Yeah, the first couple rounds were pretty close, and there wasn't a huge difference between them. I think the first match was how many points?
100-ish? 112 or something like that?
Right, it was a very small gap to close, and they are finally kind of making it a little bit bigger and in their favor.
And now, you know, PSIM still has his tank to play, and that's a good thing for Team Breezy. And I think the other tank that still has to go is Box. So depending on how those two tanks play and where they are, it's going to be the deciding factor going into the finale. It's a 34% tank too, which I think makes it even more exciting because I'm not a huge fan of the barn room tank, honestly. Like, I like playing it on SI sometimes, but it's really easy to get shut down in that room if you don't have good support. Hopefully we can see the similar amount of closeness coming out, depending on what the survivors do. I don't know about this tank here, Sailor. How do you like to play it?
Like I keep saying, when I play tank, I just panic a lot. But I generally try to get the hittables over into a good position because that usually is what saves me. Because I tend to go for those, and that's usually how I play my tanks. I'm not so good with rock tanks, so when it comes to playing up top and kind of moving between two different rooftops, like you can do, I struggle to deal with that.
Yeah, this is one of the ones on Survivor side where you pretty much have to pay attention to the spawns above you plus the rocks, but besides that, you know, it's another... These have all been really, really, like, I would say at least so far, tanks that normally don't do the most damage on these maps. Like, map 1, we had that one at 69%. We saw a good amount of damage go out. Map 2, similar situation where the tanks got shut down, closer to how they technically, quote-unquote, should be. Third map, we obviously saw a wipe, and then Dawkins, though, he played it as best he could, but could only get it down in half. Now, this will be dependent on really what the survivors do or don't do in the situation. Like, if they eat a hittable or if they eat a big boom, it could turn into something disastrous for them in an area where they really have a lot of open space between those bumper cars. So.
And it just kind of depends on where they decide to push. Some people like to push forward and some people like to fall back. So it really depends on what those survivors decide to do with whatever hit they either shut down or eat.
You know, is that like how it goes, or you decide which hit to eat or shut down? Like, because I think my team decides to eat a lot of hits then.
I think you just kind of have to play depending on what happens to you.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, it's true. It's definitely true.
Usually a lot of things happen to me, so. I just kind of cry and hope somebody fixes it.
Sprout, fix it! Sprout's probably watching this as the tournament administrator who is sending me lovely messages. And we are live. It is going to be Breezy defending their over 300-point lead on Survivor first, and Team Dawk Dynasty 3.0 trying to catch up on the special infected.
And we have our favorite play of the game, the baiting game. So a hit does go out, the jockey does get cleared and pushed away, but the boomer does land a single boom, which, with where they kind of jumped in, that was better than nothing. So a lot of Horde is going to go in and help out, but overall not a lot of damage going out from Team Dawk Dynasty. 26?
Yeah, that's not a whole lot for a hit like that. Usually you like to see more separation or something, but again, it's a situation where with a boomer you have to have those multi-caps land because the spitter isn't there to spit on whatever land, so that kind of synchronization is really, really important. Here, though, they are going to have a tri-cap with spit, and I think they might be able to send this prior to the tank spawn.
It seems like they're going to try to spawn up top and around those corners to try to get a bit right spot, but the spitter looks like it's moving. And they're going to take that hit from up top. Michael's probably going to get a pull forward.
They're doing the same thing where they have the shoddy going out first. Now we are going to see the hit going in. The hunter gets skeeted, and we do have that smoker landing.
Clear.
Oh, Box is... I don't know, the tank is up in the hands of Box, trying to get in there before they get back, but the survivors do push for that little bit of spit without any incident. And yeah, Box is going to have to do work here.
Right, she's grabbing her toys, she's going to try to get that hittable over, and she... I don't even know where it went. It's definitely not over. So she's going for her other card to try to get over in the right spot. It does land on the roof, along with the other one, which is almost out of play, but it is actually in a pretty good spot for her to be able to at least use it.
She's going to be on second pass, so she's going to have to commit this.
And that's the problem. A lot of times people just spend a lot of time playing with those hittables, and I am somebody who is super guilty of it as well. So the survivors are sitting inside. That room can be dangerous if they don't push out fast enough, but they seem like they're in a good position to hop out of there as soon as they need to. So the tank is going to take a lot of chip just going in, but she does get a punch that does create some serious separation between the team. And she does get a corner on Rochelle. That won't be an in-cap though, she is going to get out. She's taken a lot of chips so far though.
Oh, what an M2 by Coach. Great job by Jib to that. The tank has taken about 2,400 damage here. Survivors have really done a good job. Striking got out right when he needed to. The tank hit him outside before that lockup in the bumper cars happened. Got a couple punches on him.
Quickly losing frustration too. Needs to go back in at a 10% with 60% HP. So Fox is getting another hit, and she does get a bumper car. Get bumpered.
Oh, she's going for
the Charger is going in with those punches again. There is a double boom that goes out as well. She gets a bumper car out of the room, and she does not go for the kill. I don't know if she did that on purpose or if that was an accident, but there was some serious damage that went out from the SI team.
Well, honestly, though, it looks like it's a lot more than it actually is, because they're just going to be able to give Striking those pills. I think right there she should have gone for the kill, because if that's a killer, that would have been a great opportunity. But unfortunately, and it looks as though Breezy's actually going to go back for ammo, but yeah, unfortunately, like I said, they hit the bumper car outside. That's almost a pull going out, but a nice juke by Rochelle on that smoker.
Well, Boomer is trying to set up kind of quickly to figure out where to spawn, so it seems like they're just going to get another hit as these survivors push forward again.
The only really unfortunate part about that is that they have to retake the rest of the map, but with an almost dead smoker and a Boomer that just got popped, really I don't think a whole lot's going to go out. Maybe they want a spitter for the outside? I'm not sure.
Just with three survivors with such strong HP and only one that took most of the damage, they kind of have somebody they can send in to soak up hits now, and that's probably what they're going to do, is let Striking lead in and just feed him pills every so often. So we have a Charger that's going to go in, does not get the charge, the smoke does land, but the Hunter and Spitter don't do much. The Spitter spits in a corner that creates a little bit of separation, but they clear that Hunter pretty quickly.
Yeah, and Striking has been, for better or for worse, he's taken a lot of damage to start off a round, but then he's done a great job playing as that temporary health survivor. And really, when you're temporary health in Pro Mod and not EQ, where it's just a health bonus system, you can play a lot more aggressively and just make plays for your team. And because they've had it where he's been that non-bonus a couple times now, he's been able to play it very aggressively with the shotgun, run out and do what he can do. We do have a Boomer getting popped there, Charter going in onto Prodigy, and the Witch got pulled onto Prodigy as well, apparently, so that's going to be a full in-cap. Actually, that's going to be a jockey landing for cover as well. That's a lot of damage on the Breezy.
And that Smoker is pulling out again, grabbing another survivor, but it does get cleared. Oh, it's still alive, and it goes in for a second pull and makes it one of those close pulls, the kind that makes you feel really frustrated. That's when it
I don't know about that, Sailor. I think PSIM might have miscalculated exactly where the Witch was sitting.
So they have one set of pill left, only one person with permanent health, so their bonus is at a 400. Oh no, 2 people, I can't count.
I don't know, it would have been a lot better had Striking been able to go for that Witch first, but I guess no harm, no foul, because everyone's still fast. Boomer going in, got one.
A single boom, there's a charge spit getting set up with a smoker to help. Seems like they're going to try to steal that, and they don't steal the smoke guy, but they do grab somebody, and Rochelle runs straight into the spit, not realizing that it's there. Coach does manage to get out of it pretty quickly, though. That was a good chip to that health bonus, though. That did drop about 200 points almost instantly.
Yeah, and I mean, after Tank, it looked as though Breezy was in a really good position to make this map with bonus, but unfortunately for them now, having one survivor slow for this event is extremely hard to overcome.
Let alone 3.
Right, yeah, due to the fact that now, even with 2 other people bleeding out, 1 set of pills, those Common are going to do work. Some 2 by Rochelle there, though. Another shutdown coming out from Striking, playing as that main non-bonus with the shotgun. I always love that, like I said before.
We have a jockey that spawned in, Charger and Boomer getting ready to go in. The jockey is dead. Boomer and Charger decided to save hit. I think the Charger's going to wait on that boom to land, and it does get 1 person. The Charger's going to save on for the push forward, it seems like. Probably going to hop over that fence.
Yeah, they should theoretically have a spitter on this hit, but having 1 person boomed here actually advantages the Survivor team because all the horde's funneling to them, and that has let Breezy push down to where they now have most of the spawns blocked for the moment until they push forward into that next row of porta potties. Oh no, Sailor, it's getting close.
It is getting close, but that's what we asked for. We wanted it to be intense. We got what we asked for. That Hunter did pre-spawn and is getting ready to go in and probably grab somebody that gets pushed ahead a little too far, but the M2 goes out.
Charger didn't go. It's interesting right there, because now it looks as though the survivors are going to be able to push the rest of the common. The Charger spit is probably going to land onto one of them, but that is going to be a double charge with a spit down, and that is going to be
That's going to be a double
non-bonus.
incap. We might have a triple incap, depending on if that jockey gets in and gets those little pokes in. Jockey's trying to get a spawn, does get a spawn, grabs Rochelle by the face, pulls her back, and she falls over. Tries to go get another one, does not manage to, and that hunter gets smacked.
Melee skeeted. Yeah, and that's unfortunate, because like I said, even though that Charger spit got a double incap right there, they were managed to block the spawns. Prodigy does get pulled back outside. He's going to be a quick clear. Boomer's going to try to get the incap. Unfortunately, no dice, and that is a safe room right there for Team Breezy Sailor. Great job by them. Even though they didn't have a whole lot of health pre-event, they managed to push their way through and make it with a respectable bonus.
Rochelle isn't going to make it.
Now the pressure is on Dawk Dynasty 3.0.
That was a really good round, though. It did last a long time because those hits were going in at random times. They were clearing each other. They stretched it for all it was worth.
Yeah, and now unfortunately, you know, Dawk Dynasty 3.0, they're going to have to try to replicate that by not taking a whole lot of damage at this early tank, and then even if they were to take the lead, they almost need everybody fast for that event, in my opinion, because it just turns into an absolute mess when you've got either one person going down in the midst of the corridor or a bunch of that other stuff. But this tank can honestly go either way, depending on how Prodigy just, you know, depending on how he tries to play it. Like, he could go hittables, he could go rocks, he could just try to get... Honestly, I wouldn't even play for the wipe here if I were PSM. I would just try to go for the most damage possible. Okay, if you can get the wipe, cool, but a kill, maybe 3 incaps, something like that, that would be optimal in this situation, because you've got the point advantage, you have 300 points going into this chapter, and you made the map. You have control at this point. And it also depends, too, on where the survivors decide to take it, because if they try to get inside those bumper cars like we saw happen last time, that was really close to being a death onto Striking Serenity, I think it was. So Dawk Dynasty has to play it careful now. And we are live.
Sorry, it's celery in my mouth.
Alright. Good.
So we're going to watch the baiting game all over again.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite game. We have 2 survivors pushing out 3. The boom does land on just Kitty. The Charger does land at the safe room, though, which is causing some serious damage. They are struggling to clear that Charger. Now there's a double boom that goes out, and we already have 1 survivor all the way down to 26 HP. Ow.
Yeah.
That was an amazing first hit.
And that's what I was talking about with booms and tricaps in that situation. That was so close to being a hitman where you would only have, like, 1 or 2 survivors boomed and the other 3 pinners landing, because Dawkins got caught in the doorway there and his team was preoccupied with both the boomer and the other 2 SI. Great job by Breezy noticing that separation and taking full advantage of it. And now that's great pre-tank damage. Hits going in now, Charger almost landing, boomer coming in, landing on Coach's face.
That Hunter did come in with the cover there, just all teaming up on poor Coach.
Wow.
And Kitty is down.
You know what that was, right?
A gangbang?
That, but then also there was a lot of separation capitalizing right there, because Kitty was in the back, and she still had, like, maybe, I don't know, 50 or 60 HP, and all the SI just dogpiled on her because she was that far split from her team.
That hit the spot.
It's unfortunate for Dawk Dynasty 3.0.
She's split with her team again. They are not slowing down for her at all, and they do need... We kind of mentioned this first round. They really struggled with spatial awareness in round 1, and it seems like they're struggling with that again. So the boomer does go in, land another double boom on Rochelle and Nick. The hit goes in, that Charger lands, so that the Hunter does cause a little bit of separation. They do clear through the wall as the tank is able to push in and is not going to screw around with hittables.
He
He
has
is
him in the
just
bumper
going to go
cars.
straight in for the commit with the bumper cars.
Oh
Starts
my
hitting
goodness.
him. He went back out, though.
Wow, that was really close to being disastrous. Kitty was still slow and almost didn't get out of that. I think we need to give it to a Team Breezy Worm for this PSM tank.
Let's roll.
Let's do it.
Like now.
You got that boom. Good job.
Okay, I think I'm going in.
Was that sarcastic?
No, I was actually very proud of you.
I know, I love you.
Ready?
I gotta pull in here.
Ooh. Prod likes the bumper cars. Do you ride the bumper cars when you go to the fair?
Good tank.
We got him. Good boom at the start, holy shit.
Thank you.
And we are back, the tank wipe coming out right there by Prodigy Sim. Dawkins getting pulled inside the bumper cars while being a little hoarded there. His team did not clear him. Tank got a bumper car in cap onto him and another bumper car in cap onto Ellis. Well played. Hittables came out, and Sailor, now we see a almost 1,000 point differential. Team Breezy has almost put this away.
Yeah, it was really close at first, and we kind of thought they would be neck and neck, but we did notice a couple of issues with both teams depending on where they were setting up, and Team Dawk Dynasty is really struggling on Survivor. Their SI is not so bad. I mean, they are getting their hits in, they're landing together, which is fine. They're struggling as Survivor to pay attention to where their teammates are standing. Some of them are pushing a little too aggressively, while others are a little more passive and hanging out in the back, and that is causing some serious separation, which is causing the wipes.
Indeed it is, and they're saying that Box is on the wrong team, so as soon as she switches back over, we should be good, and indeed we are. And unfortunately for Dawk Dynasty, it's a little bit far behind now, but they need a wipe on this first tank. That's all it really comes down to, because, I mean, if Team Breezy kills the first tank and makes it to the second one, they're going to get 300 more points, and then that's like a 1,300 point score differential, and that is not what you want. What do we got for the first hit here, Sailor?
Well, we have a Charger, Jockey, Hunter, and Spitter. They did send in that hit early to try to get in some serious damage, and they do get a charge spit in that corner. Rochelle has to get up with God Frames, but actually, yeah, that was some pretty substantial damage for a first hit with Tank coming in. The Tank is going to play around with that table. We do have a Tank being played by Kitty here. She is... Go ahead.
I was going to say, how about we take it over to a Dawk Dynasty worm, because we haven't been there in a while.
Let's roll.
Do it.
Get the fudge out of your brightness.
Don't listen to him, brightness. You're welcome here.
Let's, he has news. You should, I was gonna say commit tank.
Go in.
You don't go in with this. Do not, Kitty. Okay, maybe you can, actually.
Yeah, just gonna die for
Yeah,
him.
go ahead, go ahead. You're fine, you're fine. They're cutting you all the
Just keep
same way.
funneling them.
Just time your punches. Leave him, leave him.
Nice. Y'all spawns in 5.
I'm dead. Yep, you got 2 more spawns though, so just stay alive.
Oh, push him.
You can push him back now. There you go. Take that corner, you're fine. Jump.
Fuck.
He's really... Good.
Wait for me, Hunter. Alright.
And we're back. We have a 2-cap attempt coming in. Smoker managing to land. Hunter getting M2'd again by Jib Jab. Great job by her.
Jib Jab that Hunter.
That was really, really messy right there. Like, I don't think it was planned for PSIM to shoot the witch, but PSIM shot the witch, got in-capped, and then unfortunately the tank wasn't able to get the full wipeout on that opportunity. And I don't know. I've seen tanks taken cleaner by Survivor teams there, Sailor, but again, they managed to survive.
They did. They do have a lot of damage spread that went out. Jib Jab is sitting very, very pretty with almost full permanent health. Seems like she only got poked once by a common, if even. The team is getting a little separated here, trying to get this event started. They do take a boom. That Charger spawns and is covering a jockey, which is going to hurt a little bit, especially with that spit there. Getting charged right back into that spit. We do have another in cap. All before the event. So they were doing really well. I mean, this could be... This, I don't know, Jib Jab is still... Her HP is really strong, which could help carry them. Especially with all these extra pills on Finale.
Yeah, but striking is black and white after taking that second in cap. That's the only unfortunate part right now for Team Breezy. And it looks like they're going to eat another hit as they're standing in common here. Hunter landing onto Nick.
We do have a boomer that does get popped, so unfortunately that doesn't give them any more of the common that they probably would have liked to have in this situation. They do have a smoker that's chilling out up top, hanging out, waiting to grab somebody, but it seems like... I can't tell if they're going to try to play this on stage. Nope, looks like they're pushing out to the stands.
Yeah, and now that they're in position, it's going to be really hard for Dawk Dynasty 3.0 to hit them. And, I mean, unless they get, like, incredibly separated or something. The hit is coming in now, though.
There is a smoker that does pull in that separation, but that Hunter wasn't really ready to cover it, so that doesn't really help them too much on the SI side. Another boomer getting popped. The Hunter does land, but there's nothing to really support it, so it gets cleared pretty quickly. Smoker's going to go in for some desperate scratches, and they're probably just trying to sync up their timers now.
Yeah, PSIM found both the support SI. They spawned in the same spot, and it's pretty easy to kill a boomer and a spitter when you have an Uzi. You just kind of hold down M1 and then see what happens, so... Let's see exactly what else they're able to do here, because they're getting really, really close to the second tank, and they still have 3 pills, as a matter of fact.
And Jib Jab is still holding on to a ton of HP. I mean, to have 82 HP at this point while the rest of your team is bleeding the way they are, she's holding her own pretty well.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it looks as though there's going to be a charged spit landing, though, and that person is black and white.
That could be a death. Yep.
Wow.
That jockey came in just in time and did push Nick back into the spit while he was boomed. Tank is in play and in the hands of Dawkins, so this could be the tank that they need. I don't know that they have enough, that they will have enough points to come back, though. It all depends.
Three survivors with 2 in full bleed. Actually, he's going to commit the tank now into the middle of that Uzi fire. Throwing a jump rock, missing it onto Coach, and Dawkins is actually in trouble now. He's getting shredded by those Uzis.
We do have a Charger Smoker Hunter trying to come in to support him. The Smoker does land, and the Hunter and Charger are trying to go in to support the tank. It doesn't seem like they're landing much right now, though. Prodigy Sim looks like he is going to die there. The Hunter does land finally, and there's only 1 survivor left for that tank to corner at 38 HP. With support still up, the Charger misses, but that stumble really did help the tank out to get that corner that he needed, and this is a wipe. Or maybe it's not.
It should be. I think Jib's going to have issues now that the tank is going to be on her with 2k HP. She's slow, and the tank gets the final win cap. So that is the wipe coming out. That was going really, really badly for Team Dawk Dynasty until they got that separation pull on PSIM, but that is a over 1,300 point lead right now for Team Breezy going into this last round of the finale. So it's doable, Sailor, but I'm not saying it's going to be probable.
Yeah, I think if they can at least make it far enough to close the gap, they'll leave feeling pretty good about themselves. It's just they have to make sure that they watch each other carefully this time.
Yeah.
That seems to be their biggest struggle as Survivor.
Yeah, and there is a kind of balancing measure that's going to be happening here, which means that we're going to try to have the pots have the tanks that are the closest possible. Oh shit, I think he actually might not have gotten it. Okay, it's going to be Prince.
We did get
as the
a charge
tank.
spit in the corner with Michael. We got about a 46 damage that goes out on that first hit. The other problem that the other team had was that they accidentally drew that witch. And it seems like this tank might try to get them to do the same thing, but it's not likely that the team is going to make that same mistake. I think they're going to be a little more careful.
And as long as the team doesn't shoot the witch, they should be okay. And the tank is up in the hands of Prince Yvonne, aka Prince, for Team Breezy. And do you want him to send over to a worm now as he's working his way in?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Dude, she's all over your tables. She wants your tables, dude. Your times tables, multiplication tables. Give him some extra time. Actually, you can go now if you want. Fuck, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Good game.
You could get another kill if you want, or get the cap. He wants the skeet. You gotta let him try. Oh, nice.
And we're back.
Indeed,
With
we are.
GG.
And that is a tank wipe coming out from Team Breezy right there to take the win in Week 1 for the first match-casted match of TFPG T4 by a score of 2,689 to 1,452 over Team Dawk Dynasty 3.0. What are your thoughts on that match as a whole there, Sailor?
It was definitely intense like we expected. I think there was a huge turnaround in the center of the game, which we weren't really expecting to happen. It did seem like Team Dawk Dynasty was pretty strong and kind of holding their own until Team Breezy picked up momentum.
Yeah, and they really did. Also, we have a shout-out from Summer to Verb. That's all he has to say. Shout from Summer to Verb. But besides that, that is a great way to start off the tournament, in my opinion. And congrats to Team Breezy. Commiserations to Team Dawk Dynasty 3.0. I don't know exactly what the score of the other match that's going on right now is, but I'm pretty sure from what I heard, Grimm's team was in the advantage over Alexi's team. And
That's what I'm hearing.
yeah, I believe that's what's going on so far. But yeah, again, a great match that we just saw right there. And if Team Breeze is able to keep playing with that, they should be in a pretty good position so far in the tournament. Obviously, Dawk Dynasty 3.0 has the time to get it back together, but again, good game, great way to showcase what the mentoring tournament's about, and room for improvement on all sides. So.
As always.
Thank you. Any other final thoughts here, Sailor, before we sign it off?
No, this was fun. Thank you guys for having me.
All right, then. With that, everybody, thank you for watching. As Brightness did talk about, thank you for supporting TFPG, and we hope to see you soon for another Matchcast.